Fourth down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey under pressure, throws it, incomplete. The Buckeyes win.
Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making the judgments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Sword, knocked it out, and picks it up. Jack Sword, coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score, and dagger from 82 yards.
Here they come.
Heavy pressure, Howard delivers downfield, and Smith, he's got it! Jeremiah Smith, the 2025 College Football National Champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Whoa, I got kicked out and I got just back in just in time. Welcome in, Buckeye Backers. We got a special edition with TJ Chapman. He is a writer. Tell us about yourself, TJ.
What's up, Steve? What's up, everybody? TJ Chapman. I write for sportsbible.com, and I also write for Mike Farrell Sports. Just love college football, love talking about it, love writing about it. It's my passion.
All right, we're going to talk about your article a little later when we get into that, the latest article that you have about quarterbacks. But, man, it's spring ball again. Football is back, and you wouldn't know it's spring from the air. It is cold outside today in Ohio, but it was nice this week, and it was nice to see some football. I was glad to be in the Woody to see what they had, and it did not disappoint. I mean, spring ball's different, right? You're not popping pads. People aren't hitting. They aren't tackling. They don't even have full pads on. But the coaching from day one to day two, practice one to practice two, it was completely different. They got amped up. I mean, everyone was flying around for the first practice, the first day. But the coaches were getting after it, man. They were really getting after it and lighting into guys. I mean, you saw Coach Lachlan. He doesn't mess around. He was sending people back, do it again. That ain't right. Do it again. You know better than that. And he was getting into him, man. And so was Coach Hartline. Some guy, he wasn't prepared. He didn't know the play. And he was like, he yelled at him, man. Like legitimately yelled at him in front of the media and everything. And that's what it's all about. You got to get them ready. Coach Patricia was getting involved earlier. He was kind of roaming around. And then when they got into the full play, on air, he was telling people where to get to. It was just awesome to see. A great thing to see. Football is alive again in the great state of Ohio, and it was fun.
You just won the national championship. If you want to get back there, this is what you do. You don't start on day 12. You start on day 1. And this is where you build championships. And that's what Ohio State figured it out last year. They're trying to run it back again this year.
And they have the dudes to do it. It's the experience level. They're a little behind in the experience level, but you look at some of these guys, woo. The freshmen coming in are ready to roll, dude. Ready to roll. They look the part. I mean, they just look like NFL players today.
Yeah.
It is amazing to see some of these young guys just out of should be in high school, and they look like NFL players.
The ones who the early enrollees who graduated early and jumped in for the spring semester in college. Yeah.
And I think there's 5 guys that aren't there yet. I mean, so pretty much the entire class is early enrollees. And I think at every major program, that's really what you want to do. You got to get in that weight program, and you get a step ahead, right? You're ahead of anyone else that's sitting at home going to prom.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you got a 6-month jump on everybody. I mean, that's invaluable.
And I don't know, back in my 18-year-old days, would I have done that? Would I have missed out on everything in high school? I don't know. I mean, I guess if I'm getting offers from Ohio State, you take a look at your future and you have parents leading you in the right direction.
back then it wasn't nearly as popular as it is now. Nowadays, a lot more people know you can actually do that. A lot more people do it now than I've never heard of it back when we were younger. Like I've only heard of it within the last 10 years.
Not at all.
Jumping in the spring semester. I didn't even know you were allowed to do that, much less, the number of people that actually do it.
It is pretty darn amazing. But we're going to start here, man. We'll start with the tight end room because that is stacked. And Ohio State's not really known for tight ends as of lately. They're starting to get a little bit more accustomed to getting the ball to the tight end. But Max Clare, the transfer from Purdue, an Ohio boy, went to St. X in Cincinnati. He is a stud, an all Big Ten stud. And he's in the room now. You had Bennett Christensen from last year. You also had Will Kaczmarek from last year, transfer from Ohio University. National titles, dude. They won them. They were on that line. They were catching balls. And then Jelani Thurman. Oh, man, the catches he's made. He looks like a wide receiver, though. I mean, he looks like he could line up in the X or in an H-back position.
Okay.
He looks lean, but he also looks big at the same time. Like it's all muscle, right? And he's
your boots on the ground, so you're there, so you're seeing him. What feel are you getting from him?
If he catches the ball like he is in practice, the dude's got to play. I mean, the dude's got to play a lot. He played a little bit last year too. Yeah. I mean, he made a couple catches. He did have a couple drops, and I think that was just freshman jitters. The dude's going to play. That's
to be expected. Yeah, not everybody's going to be Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, from the start. I mean, and I shouldn't have said freshman jitters because he's a junior, but anyway, I think he's just one of those guys that, some guys take a little bit longer to develop mentally and physically. So he's one of those guys he's going to turn it on this year.
Yeah. And that's the product of getting in there early, like we were just talking about, like players skipping that last end of their senior year so that they can actually get that time together with their new teammates, with who's going to be their quarterback, with their position coaches, the position rooms, get the meetings going, get an understanding so that they have that 7-month jump on everybody else so that they're not learning on the fly in August.
Yeah. Well, we got our first comment from the locker room for today. It is Andre Green, and he's just letting us know we're champs. Yeah, man. That was the first thing I saw when I walked into the Woody, that banner.
Yeah.
In the practice facility, it was up. It was hanging there and looking pretty.
Nice.
Looking pretty. We're the champs. We're the reigning champs, and Ohio State gets to talk about it for another 300 days, 350 days, whatever it is. A little less than that now.
I was going to say, you're going to talk
almost
about
a full year.
Fall camp starts, and then all that noise is going to shut down as you try to get ready for the next one.
Well, that's the interesting part about it. Ryan Day in his press conference was saying some of the team leaders were like, we need to take down some of this stuff. That was last year. We didn't do that. It was last year's team. I mean, obviously, people took it the wrong way on the internet. They're not going to take down that banner in the Woody, in the practice facility. That's staying there forever, all right?
Yeah.
That's not coming down. They're talking about the stuff in the rooms where they work out, in the team meeting rooms, things like that. They could take that stuff down and focus on this year. And I think it was kind of a rhetorical thing. They weren't really necessarily meaning take it down. They just mean get your mind focused. This season, we haven't won anything yet.
If you keep reminding yourself of what you did last year, you're not going to be able to see in front of you. So I understand the mentality there. And the interwebs took it the wrong way. That never happens.
No, not at all. Yeah, some of the comments get a little sidetracked, I guess.
Yep.
You got to keep your eye on the vision, all right? Keep your eye on the vision. And that vision is, hey, it's time to repeat. Physically ready to play dudes. We were talking about it. The most physically ready, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull a picture of these running backs, man.
Yeah.
Which one of those guys is the freshman, just based on looks alone? Physically ready to play looks.
Yeah. All of them. They all look ready to go, man. They all look ready to go.
Bo Jackson here, right in the middle between the other two, is the freshman, and he looks like he is an NFL player right now. Right now. The only way you would know that he's not He's got braces on. He's a little bit media shy maybe, and that's normal for a freshman coming in. They might be a little media shy, and he's going to get used to it because the dude's going to get some playing time.
He does not look like 3 months ago he was a senior in high school. He does
and
not
these guys,
look like
he should be a senior in high school right now.
2 months ago too. Yeah. No, actually 3. Yeah. Cause we're in March now.
I hope they let fans come to the first week of practice in August like they did last year. I haven't heard anything about that yet. I would imagine that they do.
Decision.
I would imagine that they do because that was a hit.
Yeah.
We don't rebuild, we reload. Yeah, and there's a lot of talk about Ohio State, dropping off because of everyone they left. And we're going to get into Pro Day in a little bit, but they do. They reload. Yeah. I mean, the talent is there. The talent is definitely there. And these guys coming in are going to help. Ryan Day said it. He's like, these guys are ready. Every one of them can fight for a position. Every single one of them.
When you're in a blue blood, a big dog like Ohio State, that's what's going to happen. You don't rebuild, you do reload. I mean, that's just the reality of it. You have the backing that Ohio State has, and people can knock it if they want. The people who are knocking Ohio State paying $20 million for a roster are the ones that are pissed off that their school can't do it or won't do it.
Or they were doing it and they didn't realize they were paying $20 million.
If my school,
Ohio State just came out and said
I wouldn't be mad about that. I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, pay the $20 million. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that was illegal. It's perfectly legal now. It's perfectly legal. So I don't understand why people are not.
That's part of the game. Devin Sanchez, cornerback from Texas. This dude is huge. Looks ready to play. Another one of those freshmen who should still be in high school right now. Absolutely. Hey, speaking of them, Jaquiz Carter, defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Newberry, Texas. Actually lived close to that I lived in Gainesville for about a year. And dude's physically ready to play.
Yeah, I can tell.
Then we go to the transfers. Big E. Ethan Oniawa. Ready to play. I mean, he transferred. He was from Rice. He's another Texas boy. But ready to play. 357 pounds. Day says he needs to cut a little bit of that weight and get more athletic so he can bend a little bit more. And I'll agree with him. I think he will. I think he will cut that weight. But there's other players too. This is not the end of it. This is just the pictures I had. Phillip Daniels, the offensive tackle from Minnesota, transferred in. I think he is from Cincinnati, Princeton originally. I can't quite recall, but I think he's from the Cincinnati area. So Ohio boy coming back. Carter Lowe from Cincinnati Whitmer. Woo, that boy is huge and ready to go. I mean, 77 here, that's Tegra Shabola. He was the biggest guy on the offensive line by far last year. I mean, you could see it. And Onion was not holding. He's not giving up any weight to him, that's for sure.
No, he doesn't look. It doesn't look like there's much of a difference size-wise. And those are your two guards.
Doesn't look like any senior in high school when I was going to school. Yeah, not at all.
No.
Hey, you got some fans out here. Andrew Anderson.
My man Andrew, where am I at here?
The locker room's bringing it, even on a March Madness night. There's games going on. So if anyone gets any final scores while we're on here or anything of note, let us know in the locker room. I was watching the podcast the other night, and Devin Sanchez's mother said the plan is to take number 6 if Sonny gets the block O. Well, you know what? I think that's going to happen. That plan is going to come into fruition. I don't know who else gets the block O. Sonny Styles is the leader of the team. He's the face of the Buckeyes right now. And if you watch that dude, he's winning like every rep when they're warming up, every rep when they're running, even if they're like half. If they're going 50% just warming up, he's looking around. He's getting to the front of the line every time.
He
is the leader in the locker room right now. I'm sure other guys are going to step up. Trying to think of some other guys that might be leaders. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith is a leader, just his presence, right?
Yeah.
And Caleb
Just
Downs
by
is a
who he is.
leader
Even though
by
he's a
presence.
sophomore, you would still look at him to be a leader for what he's accomplished and, you know, the media attention, the attention that he's going to get. It's a different animal, especially when you're at a place like Ohio State. It's a different animal. And some of the younger guys who may end up being this year's version of Jeremiah Smith may be able to look to him for how he handled last season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, he was wise beyond years a little bit, and just his work ethic is through the roof. Everyone knows about Jeremiah Smith already. And speaking of that, I was watching him return punts, or at least fielding punts. And that was interesting. He was like the fourth man in line. So I'm not sure that it was something that's really planned. It's just a backup, you know, if it comes to that, or hey, if we need a play, send them back there. But I mean, I think when you have
along those lines,
I was thinking when you have Caleb Downs back there, you probably don't put Jeremiah Smith back there. You let Caleb Downs clean it up. All right. And I think
Caleb Downs is banged up. If Caleb Downs needs a breather and you need a play, I don't see a problem with sending Jeremiah Smith back there. I'm a little surprised because I don't necessarily hear too many star, big time number one receivers being punt returners like that anymore. They're more worried about getting hurt on a punt return than, you know, their offensive stats, catching the ball, yards after catch, touchdowns, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's nice to add the all-purpose yards to your repertoire, but sometimes risk reward, it's too much of a risk for the low reward.
And James Peoples, man, he was flying around. He looked like he had some speed.
Yeah.
I don't know what his 40 time was coming out of high school, but the dude was flashing speed. And I know he was working hard. He's going to be a leader on the team, and especially in the running back room. He's a leader already. I mean, everyone's looking up to him. They're looking at his work ethic and trying to emulate it. And there's a lot of people coming in, you know, with CJ Donaldson coming in from West Virginia. He's looking to what it's like. What is it like to be at Ohio State? Because West Virginia is not Ohio State.
Correct.
Let's be honest. I mean, you're going to learn some stuff there. It is D1 football, and it's a good D1 football school. It's just not the best of the best.
No, you're not.
So before, go ahead.
You're not comparing something that's similar when it comes to that. You're comparing, like, when it comes, it's Ohio State is like the penthouse. WVU is more like your second floor apartment.
Yeah. How big is this building?
You got those 10-story buildings. You know how that works.
All right. I think it's a little higher than that. I think we're talking 90
Carter from New Jack City, but
hey, we got to get to a quick commercial, and this commercial is College Football Dogs, because they're the ones putting this on. They're the ones paying me to be here. So hey, College Football Dogs, go check it out.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12-plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
Here we are back in. Thank you again, College Football Dogs. It's been a pleasure being with them for the last 2 years, and they're still looking for writers to expand their territory. So go check them out. If you're a writer, if you're a content man, get with them. Get with them now. Buckeye backers are here, so let's talk some more football, baby. I can't believe we're talking football again. It seems like the season just ended. but it's
Yeah.
great to be doing. Great to be doing.
College football, 365 days a year. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yep. Yeah. If you're doing recruiting, if you're talking about the NFL draft, which yeah, let's get to that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's throw in the draft. You want to talk about that pro day? Well, here it is. Ohio State has a loaded pro day for 2025, man. Anyone of particular interest for you?
Think are going to get drafted?
15.
15?
Yeah, I think they'll get the 15.
That's insane.
There's the two that didn't get invited to the combine, or didn't get invited to the NFL draft, or the combine, I should say.
In Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was Geese guy, and he's going to get picked up in free agency. Let's be honest with you. Okay. I can't remember who the other one that didn't get invited to make it 17. Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. But yeah, 15 are definitely getting drafted. And the reason why I remember G. Scott is because I want him to get drafted, man. And I think will make a good NFL player. He's just got to get that chance somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta build from the ground up whenever it's one of those rookie contracts, free agent rookie contracts.
Absolutely. Yeah. But who do you think? Who are you looking forward to seeing? What do you want to see out of Ohio State's pro day?
Well, being in Pittsburgh, I'm a big Steelers fan. So before we got DK Metcalf, I was 1,000,000% on Emeka Egbuka coming to the Steelers. Okay, right now, we got two solid receivers in Metcalf and Pickens. We don't got anybody to throw the goddamn ball. So we have Mason Rudolph. We just signed him. We let all of our options walk away. I don't know if the Steelers meant to do that and have some kind of plan in place. I'm not 100% happy with Aaron Rodgers coming in to be part of the Steelers. But as far as Buckeyes are concerned, I would have zero problem with the Steelers finding a way to pull either Quinshon Judkins or Trevion Henderson, because with Najee Harris walking, we need a running back, and I have no problem pulling one of the two running backs, part of the two-headed monster.
And Josh Pryor, he's the other one that didn't make it to the combine, but again, is going to be someone that gets picked up in free agency. I would love to see us break the record.
What is
go to that. The record is 15, so I think we'll tie it. I don't think we'll get the 16, but there's a possibility of 17. You never know. I mean, Ohio State does a good job in the draft every year, and there's some people taking a lot higher than you would realize. I think a lot of what's interesting about this, these guys not performing in the combine, I don't necessarily understand that. Do you have an opinion on that?
So my opinion on that one is, when it comes to the combine, you have players that pretty much have already either solidified their draft position, or it's another risk reward. Do they risk, a poor 40 time that could potentially drop them, 5 draft spots? Dropping 5 draft spots in the first round, you're losing a couple million, couple million, somewhere around there. You don't want to do that. If somebody is on the fence whether they want to pick you or another player, that other player runs a good 40, you run a crappy 40, or you drop, 5 or 6 balls that you should have caught. You're going to give them film, and you're going to give them a reason to try to pick somebody else. If you have a lot to gain and nothing to lose, balls to the wall, crush it, go after it. But if you have more to lose than you have to gain, I don't see a problem with not performing at all the different events from the combine, especially if you're going to have a pro day at the school that you're familiar with, on the field that you're familiar with the players you're familiar with. That I can understand completely. All the chatter about, I believe, was it Will Howard or Kyle McCord? Who was the one that had a bad one of them had, I think it was Kyle McCord, had a bad throwing day at the combine, where people were just tearing him to shreds, and Shedeur Sanders even come out and said, "Hey, leave that dude alone. That dude can ball."
That was Will Howard, but he didn't have a bad day. They just took the low lights and made a low light film on it.
Yeah, and that's what you also
it really was.
Yeah,
the dudes are throwing to some, and that's what Shador said. They're throwing to people that they're not used to throwing to, so they don't know the timing. Every receiver runs a route just a little bit differently.
Yep.
There's game tape. Game tape is what matters.
Yes.
All right. Really, if you're someone that level, the game tape matters more than anything that you're going to do. And missing a target isn't really that big a deal. They're looking at other things. Where are your feet at? You know, how is the ball coming off your arm? Right. Or is there something wrong with your throwing motion? Or, are you able to look people off and throw the other direction? Things like that are going to be
the defender in your face.
Correct. Yeah. You stand in the pocket, or are you throwing off that back foot falling away?
Yeah. Yeah. I get why that some of them were kicking themselves out of some of the events, but I think people make too big of a deal. There was a lot of emphasis placed on the combine over, pretty much the last 40 years, for the exception of the past 2 or 3 years. And it's starting to fade away because you have people who've already proven everything they needed to prove. Why would Travis Hunter want to perform at the combine knowing what he's done? Shador Sanders, same deal. Why would they want to do that? They did, but why would they want to? The only way that any of those players can go is down. You're only going to go down in the draft if you don't perform at peak performance at the combine. You have a chance for somebody to say, oh, well, I'm going to question this pick. I'm going to question that. See, in Pittsburgh here, we're looking at quarterbacks. A lot of the chatter around here now is Shador Sanders didn't interview well with a lot of the teams. Some of the teams are coming out saying he's arrogant. He's too much of a headache. He's too much of a problem. Sitting at the 21st pick, do you really think Shador Sanders is going to drop from a top 5 pick to the Steelers at 21? No, but you got people talking about it. And if you got enough people talking about it, the ones up top may start to think, hey, I don't know if I want to deal with that. Maybe I better go in a different direction. And eventually he does start to fall.
That's the thing that happens every year, right? It's other teams saying, hey, don't pick them, so we got a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that chatter too.
There is politics involved. Absolutely.
So, I don't listen too much of that. Some of it's just them wanting a chance at it.
Yeah.
And I gotta give Doug Shepard Sr. some props. He's always in this locker room, tearing it up and giving us all the news we need.
Yes.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
Always in the locker room. We count on you, Doug. Thanks for being here. So, moving on. What I don't understand is, what if you pull a hamstring? What if you don't?
Yeah.
You're sick. You have the flu for pro day. Do you lose a chance as like a 3rd round possible guy to move up by not performing at the combine and wait until your pro day?
Yeah. There was a couple years ago, somebody tore an ACL at the combine, and I believe he dropped 2 rounds. And the name, I can't remember who it was. The name's escaping me for who that was, but I mean, you have that. That's your risk. That's your risk. You risk blowing a knee out. You risk, doing something, injuring yourself, or poorly performing. And when you poorly perform like that, these guys, you have people from every single team, multiple people from every single team, media people who are scrutinizing your every move. One drop pass. Oh, this guy can't catch. That might be the only pass that one of these people saw. You might have caught 95 other passes at the combine, but if 6 people only saw the one pass that you dropped, that's what they're taking away from that. And that's what they start to factor in. And that's when you start to drop in your draft stats. I mean, there are so many factors that go into it. There's a lot of players who go to the combine who have a chance to elevate themselves. But the top players who are there, why would you? Why would you do it?
Yeah, and who has a shot at the 1st round? Emeka Ibuka is pretty much a guaranteed 1st rounder.
So
Josh Simmons, a 1st rounder.
My buddy JT at Sports Bible, he specializes on the drafts, the NHL draft, NFL draft, Major League Baseball, NBA. The 5 guys from Ohio State that he told me to watch out for that have potential 1st round, maybe early 2nd round: Tyleik Williams, Emeka Ibuka, Trevion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, and Donovan Jackson. Those are the ones that my buddy JT, John Toth, was saying, those are the Buckeyes to look out for. I definitely agree as far as Donovan Jackson. Emeka Ibuka, it's with the Steelers getting Metcalf, that may have sealed his fate to be pushed into the second round, depending on either if somebody moves up late in the first round or if somebody decides he's too good to pass up. And a lot of the draft also depends on need. And no matter how good Emeka Ibuka is, he very may well drop to the second round, early to mid second round, again, depending on who needs what.
Yeah, and free agency is going to solve a lot of this once we get through all the free agency moves. And then you know what teams need, and people are going to move around a little bit more after that.
Correct, yeah.
But, I almost guarantee he's going to be a first rounder. And Tyleik Williams, I think, is the most underrated player in the draft for Ohio State. He should go first round. He's going to bring first round potential.
Yeah.
Any team he joins.
He was, I think.
Go back and watch the film.
Yeah.
He was the reason the linebackers were able to get to the quarterback so much. He was plugging up holes. And I was starting to say it from the Tennessee game. The dude, if I'm a GM, I'm trying to find him in the first round somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Better to go late in the first round so you don't go to a bad team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
And a lot of what you do in the NFL, and same with college, it's just who you're surrounded with. What kind of team do you go to? Do they fit your style? Are there other people to support you? Football is the ultimate team sport. You go to the Bears as the quarterback, you're screwed.
Yep. You start off like Justin Fields. You go to the Bears, the Bears and the Browns are just like the quarterback killers of the NFL. That's just a
quarterback graveyard.
Yeah. And the Steelers brought in Justin Fields, and I love that they did. I just hate how they used him. Then I hate how they pushed him aside for Russell Wilson. I get they signed Russell Wilson first, and they wanted him to be the big dog, and his injuries caused problems. When we went on that losing streak, it should have been Justin Fields' ball all over again. And I don't blame him for not wanting to sign back with the Steelers. If they're dragging their feet on it and dicking around with them, see ya. I'm gone. I'm going somewhere where I can start, where I know I'm going to start. The Jets are about a step ahead of the Bears and the Browns as far as quarterback development is concerned, but I hope he gets it together there. I really do, because he's a damn good quarterback. He was great at Ohio State. He had his flashes in Chicago. The times that he played for the Steelers, if they would have allowed him to actually throw the ball more, you would have seen what kind of a quarterback he is. And I just didn't like the way they used him.
Yeah, I'm ready for him to get a break somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Like, have that chance. Because once he gets a chance and once he gets to the right team, Justin Fields is going to do well. He just needs that place to let him do well. And let's get back to Donovan Jackson. I mean, how much did his draft stock improve just for the versatility?
Position versatility is what a lot of these places are looking for. If you can play both tackle positions as a tackle, that's great. But if you can slide into the interior and help out on that end too, it's invaluable. It's definitely invaluable. And that will put you ahead of somebody who's just solidly a right tackle or a left tackle. Like you have the Steelers drafted Broderick Jones from Georgia. He played right tackle this past season, but his natural position's left tackle. They're going to slide him back over there. With Donovan Jackson, look at that. That's what they're going to do with him. They're going to plug him in wherever they need to until they find where he's going to be solid. And that position flexibility is key. That's going to keep him in the first round.
Yeah, I see him as an early second round type guy.
Yeah,
but if someone really needs both a guard and a tackle, he's a guy that you have to look at. Or if they have a guy they already know that has injuries, possibly got that bug that's been nagging, that's a guy you pick up.
And if you have a chance to bring him in to start him on the interior part of the line so he learns your schemes, your terminology and everything, and then next season or late this season somebody gets hurt, you slide him to the outside, that's what you have. You're not going to see a guard picked very early in the top 10. It's very rare if you'll ever see a guard picked in the top 10. But if you have somebody who's a guard that can also play tackle like that, you got him. I mean, you definitely can get him in the first round, maybe not the top 10, but if their natural position is guard, you're not going to catch them in the top 10, I don't think. But if you have a tackle that can slide inside, it's invaluable. I mean, there's no other way.
What do you say about Will Howard?
Not necessarily sold on Will Howard. I tend to agree with him. He had flashes at Kansas State where he looked really good. He looked the part. He looked very good for Ohio State. I want my hang up on him is watching that national championship game. Why did it take him to the end to be able to push the ball down the field? I mean, I know part of that is play calling, where they didn't want to send Jeremiah Smith deep like that until they absolutely needed to. And if that's the case, that's fine. I'm not necessarily sold on Will Howard being. I think Will Howard should be 4th, 5th round. I don't see him being higher than that because I don't think he has what the teams are looking for as far as the total package is concerned. I could see him being probably, a career backup, maybe getting a spot here and there, chance to try to play here and there, similar to a Gardner Minshew.
Really? I could see him sliding in the second round, to be honest with you. Maybe it's just me being a Buckeye backer.
Yeah, I see where a lot of people were high on him on some of the situational things that he can do. I didn't see enough of it from his time both at Kansas State and Ohio State where I would push him into that spot. I mean, if you're going to tell me, well, look, he just won the national championship. Stetson Bennett won 2 in a row. Where's he at? I mean,
I don't think it's necessarily the national championship. I think a lot of it is the teams he went through and what he did when he got, I want to say, real development. When he got under a Ryan Day, someone that could get his feet right, because the footwork was what was holding him back at Kansas State. And he even had some troubles a little bit with Ohio State too. But then once he got going and when it really mattered, he gave it everything he had, and his footwork was on point. I mean, what he did in the playoffs, his stats were amazing. They were awesome.
Yeah. They were awesome to me. I don't think it was that awesome in the national championship game, and that's when the light shined brightest. If I'm remembering right, he didn't really hit anything over 10 yards until that pass to Jeremiah Smith, right?
That was his longest pass play.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had ones over 10 yards. I mean, he had one that drive over 10 yards.
Okay.
That was the drive before the one to Emeka Buka where he fumbled. Yeah, the one to Emeka Buka when he fumbled. That one was 20-some yards. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. His games against Tennessee, the earlier games that he had in the playoffs, he crushed it. He absolutely crushed it. I don't know. I was not impressed in the national championship game. And again, when the lights are brightest on you, you got to perform. You got to perform at peak level. And I just wasn't impressed with him coming out of that game.
All right. Well,
sorry, man.
agree to disagree.
Got it.
So, hey, I'm going to look it up here because I don't remember his stats from the national title game. But I mean, go back and look at Tennessee. Go back and look at Oregon. The stats were amazing.
Off the chart. Yeah, they were definitely off the chart. I don't know. I guess it's maybe like the bad taste in my mouth at the end, so to speak. Because I mean, I was pulling for Ohio State to win. I'll be 100% honest. I was pulling for Ohio State to win. I just was waiting for him like he had played against Tennessee, like he played against Oregon in those games, and it didn't come. I mean, it could be scheme, it could have been play calling. I definitely get all that, but I remember watching the game and thinking, man, it's just he's off tonight or something's going.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't off. He was 17 of 21, didn't have quite the yards or the touchdowns, 231 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I get it, but what kind of happened? It looked like they took the foot off the gas a little bit. They were celebrating a little too early on the sidelines.
Yeah.
At least it looked like it to me. And then they were trying to run the clock out a little bit too early. I think they could have done better.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. They could have done better. But it was a national championship game, and they wanted to get out of there with the W, and they did.
That's
what
and
really matters
and
for
at the end of the day, it's about the win. It's not about how your players look in that game. So yeah, I guess I really wasn't impressed with him all season. The playoffs, yeah, he blew me away against Tennessee. He blew me away. Was it Oregon? Was the second game?
Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I just wasn't truly impressed with him all season, and especially in that championship game. But that might be me nitpicking too.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Who else? Anyone else that you wanted to talk about from the draft from a Buckeye perspective?
I love Judkins. I love Henderson, the two running backs. A lot of the chatter,
the running back world, right?
Correct.
That's your second round automatically as a running back almost.
The unfortunate devaluing of running backs has led to not as many being drafted in the first round. Like this year, you're going to get Amari Hampton from North Carolina, you get Ashton Genty from Boise State. Depending on who needs what, you may see Henderson or Judkins slip into the first round. I think both of them are solid second round picks. I definitely think, and they can do an awesome job no matter which team they're with. They both can run their ass off. They both can catch coming out of backfield. They can block as far as blitzes, picking up blitzes are concerned, doing what they need to do in the passing game. They're both solid. I just think with the devaluing of the running back position, you're not going to see as many going in the first round anymore. So I think in years past, they probably both would have been first round picks. I think they're both second, late second, early third round picks at the worst. And I think both of them are going to have solid NFL careers.
For sure. And speaking of that, all these Buckeyes, go get you some in the NFL draft because we're going to get some. Get you some.
Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa, whoa.
Joe,
hey.
We all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better. Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some.
I had to play it a second time. It's that good. Get you some. They owe me some money.
Love it.
All right, man. So you wrote an article about the top Big Ten quarterbacks coming into spring. Tell me about your analysis and why no Buckeye made your list, man.
Well, my reasoning for how I picked who the top 5 were, and I did the series, one for each of the Power 4 conferences. My main thing is I got to see it. Show me. I don't care about Arch Manning. Okay. I love his uncle, Peyton Manning. I'm a Tennessee fan, but he's started 2 games in his collegiate career. He's come in some mop-up duty here and there. He wasn't in my top 5 in the SEC. I don't live in the potential world. I don't live in a world where, well, this guy can do this. Okay, show me. When he starts to do it, then I'm on board with you. I got it. That's where I was with Julian Sayin and potentially Lincoln Kienholz, whoever's going to be the starter coming out. They don't have Power 4 starting experience coming in. They don't have the experience, period, coming in. So when it came to the Big Ten, it ended up being more of a like a numbers game. Drew Allar he was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. He's got the size, he's got the arm. I sat down and watched a lot more of him this season, and when the lights shine brightest, he gets jitters. There's times in games when I see him throw these passes, and I'm like, dude, who the hell were you throwing to? I mean, there's a lot of times, and it's almost like he's trying to make a decision between one receiver and another receiver, and it's thrown in the middle of the two of them. I mean, it's just that's more hyperbole than anything, but that's just more the point of I see where everybody says that Drew Allard has the tools to be a first-round NFL draft pick, but up here he misses it a lot, and I'm just not necessarily completely sold on him. But the other end of that, when it comes to the Big Ten quarterbacks, there's really nobody else. Everybody's gone. Everybody's left.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more a numbers game as far as he was concerned. And I'm trying to get that up right now for you. Who
right.
I had
well,
as the
by the end of all of this, a Buckeye is going to be on that list, and you know it. Going into fall.
If Julian Sand comes in and just tears it up next season when I do this, yeah, he'll be in it. But that's him showing me. I need to see it. I can't just sit there and go, well, he had 5 stars next to his name in high school. Well, he beat Rinky Dink High School 85-3. I mean, I don't care about that. I don't care about what he's doing in the practice facilities. I don't care what any of the players are doing.
When do you update this list?
Game. What's up?
When do you update the list? When are you going to update this list?
Next season.
Are you going to do a mid? You're not going to do a mid-season?
No. I'll do it to be, leading into the spring. I might do another one, updating it a little bit before the season starts. But nothing's really going to change because from now until the season starts, there's no games played. Nobody's playing in any games. Julian Sand won't have 4 games against Big Ten teams from now until August. So there's nothing that I could do that's going to put him in there. I'm not living in the world of what could potentially happen. I'm living in the world of what is happening.
Well, it's not decided. It's not decided that it's going to be Julian Sang.
Yeah. Why can't I find
and that was one thing going into this. I mean, we heard from Ryan Day in the press conference saying how hard it is to be the quarterback at Ohio State. You got to be the hardest working guy in the building. First of all, you got to know what it takes. You got to have a lot of preparation. Then you got to learn how to do it. You got to learn the footwork, the technique, when the ball needs to come out, why plays are called. And then when you get to it, you got to protect the ball and make plays. And the difference between the 3 quarterbacks that Ohio State has, they're all 3 different. I mean, Julian Sang just rips the ball. He gets it out quick. He's got a lot of rotation on the ball, like Billy, rotation in his throw, I should say, not necessarily on the ball. Like quarterback coach said when he was interviewed, and he said, it's not time yet. We're not going to make any decisions yet. We got to see what they got. They haven't even, been really live. All right. They're not running plays out there yet. They're just doing installs and lining up and learning. Some of them are learning the plays. I mean, you got Tavian there from the Central Buckeye Conference, which is not the best in the world. I mean, they let me play in that conference, so probably not the most athletic conference in Ohio, but he is a stud, and he's going to prove it. He just needs a little bit of time, and he looks the part, the heir apparent to the throne of Buckeye Nation.
Yeah.
Give me.
He won't be on my list just because he crushed it in the Central Bucks High School.
The Central Buckeye Conference, yeah, you can't put him on the list for that. I mean, I applaud the guy for not transferring somewhere else, not taking it and going and staying with his hometown. I think that's awesome. It shows a lot about a man to have that, drive to be good and to put your hometown team on the map, because people know about Bell Fountain now, where they wouldn't have maybe a couple years ago. I mean, they made the playoffs frequently when I was playing against them, but I think they had a few down years since then. And then he comes in, Tavian St. Clair, and everyone knows where Bell Fountain is now.
Yep. Yeah. And that dude, one player like that. That's what happened with Terrell Pryor. Jeanette, PA. That's maybe half-hour drive from my house. I mean, nobody knew about Jeanette outside of this area, obviously, and he came in and everybody knew about it.
In the days today, like when you can go to IMG Academy or something and play the stiffest competition in the United States, he could have done it, and he didn't. He could have gone down the road and played at Marysville or St. Mary's or wherever. I meant to say Marysville. And he could have gone, to Springfield and played, but
Yeah.
he didn't. And I think there's a rule in Ohio high school football where transferring, you have to sit out for a little bit, which is, I don't know how I feel about that. I guess it's cool, but
Yeah.
Making a high school guy sit out, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back to these quarterbacks. Ohio
Yes.
State quarterbacks. Let's stop talking high school football. That's not what we're all about right now.
Yep.
We're talking about the race. Julian Sain, Lincoln Kienholz. Lincoln Kienholz is the guy. He's athletic. You can see it. He's been there. It's his third year in the program. He has a little bit more tone to him. You can see that he's trying to win reps.
Yeah.
And he deals with the media a little bit better. He doesn't have that baby face, but you know what? Joe Germain had a baby face, and he was lighting it up from the quarterback position. So baby face doesn't have really anything to do with it. It's just Julian Sain had that smaller stature last year. He put on some weight this year. They're not much different in weight. I want to say he's 207 if I recall correctly. Yeah, I think Lincoln Kienholz is 207, and then Julian Sain is 203, so about 4 pounds separates the two.
Yeah.
And 1 inch in height.
Yep. The thing that I watched one of your videos whenever you had the
only people that ski knows about Bell Fountain. Yes, Mad River Mountain.
What's that?
Mad River Mountain. There is some skiing, if you want to call that, in Ohio.
Okay.
And that's around Bell Fountain. Yeah.
Okay. The Lincoln, is it Kienholz or Kienholz? Kienholz. He one of the things that I found out watching him doing an interview, I saw one of your videos that you had. He's been at Ohio State 3 years. He's had 3 different quarterback coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They were asking him along the lines of, how has that affected you? And he said, I've learned a lot from all 3, just hearing all their information and their knowledge of the game. And he said it helps him, it helps Julian, and it helps Tavy. And so he gave the politically correct, the toed the company line type of answer.
Mm-hmm.
But having a different quarterback coach each of those 3 years, that can't be tough because there's no consistency.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing that, Coach Fessler said was it doesn't really change much. Their scheme isn't changing. This is Ryan Day teaching everything. There might be a few tweaks here and there, but didn't think that was a big deal because he was asked about it too.
Okay.
And they're all kind of on the same page. There might be a little bit subtle differences here and there, but pretty much they're running the same thing. As far as the passing game goes, the running game was a little bit different when Chip Kelly came in, but the passing game was all the same. A lot of crossing routes and deep passes too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something Ryan Day is known for. That's his scheme. Get the crossing game going if you can. And now they're taking shots deep because they can.
Yeah. The receivers the last few years are insane.
And that's the one thing I've noticed, the big guy, Tavian St. Clair, being able to have that big arm, he's going to be able to drop the ball deep. He puts on a little weight in that weight room. He is going to be able to fly with that thing. And that's the thing that separates college football from the NFL too. I love college football because you can air it out.
Yep.
You're not going to get too many of those.
I watch college football from noon to midnight. I watch a Steeler game and I'm done with NFL.
Yeah, I'm falling asleep watching college football for sure on my couch every single Saturday. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love college football. I could do that all day long.
Old Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah. The Hawaii games that start at 11:59.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hawaii played UCLA last year, I think, to open up the season, and that was a good game actually.
Yeah. Timmy Chang's their head coach down at Hawaii. Their former quarterback.
Yeah. Oh man, college football! I can't wait.
Yeah, me
2025. It can't get here quick enough.
Yeah,
we got to get this summer over with. Am I wishing summer away already? And it's almost freezing outside. I think it's snowing.
I'm wishing a week from now. I'm going to again, living here in Pittsburgh. I'm going to Pitt's Pro Day next Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll be covering that.
So, I did notice something watching the quarterbacks, and I don't want to give it away because I want to watch next week. and maybe the week after to see what happens. But I noticed a particular substitution when one quarterback was throwing, and I'm going to pay attention to that a little bit more. It may have been just looking at, happenstance. I was like, oh, well, that one's going out. Well, this one's coming in. That's interesting. All right. So that's something that I got to pay attention to a little bit more. And I'll talk about it for sure. I just want to see it a few more times. I don't want it to be just happenstance. But we also got to get into this Michigan thing. I'm changing the tune here.
Yeah.
What is going on, man? The Wise investigation finally came. I don't know if you remember back when we were Buckeye backers and I was talking about how the FBI was going to play a bigger role in this.
Okay.
And in fact, what they were stealing with the computers with the Wise investigation. And
I remember a little bit, but I don't remember the particulars. Yeah.
And now we're finding out that he had access to, I think it was over 150,000 different student athletes from across the country.
Yep. Mostly female.
I didn't read a whole lot about it.
I read a little bit.
That's
about
disgusting, first of all. And I don't know why he had that access, number one.
He basically, the way the lawsuit was written, the articles that I was reading about it, they pretty much were saying that he came off as a computer guru, and he was able to hack a password protection, something or other that had to do with cloud storage. And he was able to go in and look at people's personal videos and photos. And it said he mainly was looking at female athletes, particular body style, and years, like a year or two later, went back and looked again to see updated photos of them if he was still able to hack into that cloud.
Let's get back to this just because Doug makes a good point. Yeah, he did. I saw a couple errant throws from each of the quarterbacks, but like Day said on day one on the first practice, nothing looks good. You feel like you're going to lose every game. You wait until you get into more of the installs, wait till you get some more coaching. To me, really, there's going to be some errant throws, especially when you're starting the beginning of the season. Spring practice, number one, just getting back, getting everyone full go. They're just in shells, So warming up, getting the offense down, getting the jitters out from returning. There were a couple bad throws by every quarterback that was there, but they look almost neck and neck right now. I don't think you can make a decision based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, way too early. They got to figure everything. And like he said, and the other end you do have to think about too is the transfer portal. If they come out and name a starter now, the other one's gone. I mean, it's going to be that fast. So you got.
Well, I mean, they're going to tell them before the portal is over. So, if one of them doesn't get it, they may transfer.
Yeah,
I mean that it's going to be named. I mean, they're going to know by then who really is the quarterback. I mean, the team will know.
Yeah,
someone will separate themselves, even if they don't really name it. Someone's going.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just you want to protect them.
I don't think they're churching it up at all. I think right now it is definitely we don't know.
Yeah,
I would say that probably saying just because of the fanfare he came in with, because he's from California, gets an edge a little bit. I don't know that it's necessarily something that they want to do. I just think that that's just the way the cookie crumbles. If it's all tied up, he's probably going to get the edge because he's younger.
They probably got to wait until they see a scrimmage or two so that they understand what they have in live game action, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the portal, Ohio State's definitely going to bring someone in the portal. I can almost guarantee you it's not going to be in the tight end room because they are stacked there. But they'll probably bring in a veteran quarterback from somewhere.
Yeah,
just someone that's probably going to be second string all his life. But
yeah,
someone that's good enough to play at Ohio State if it were to get bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Without anybody knowing anybody who's in the portal right now, because that's what's going to end up happening is somebody's either going to get hurt or a younger kid's going to get a starting job ahead of somebody who has some experience, and they're going to jump in the portal. And that might be where Ryan Day says, hey, you want to come here? You're not going to be the starter, but if something happens to him, you're playing for the defending national champs.
And that's why I think it would really hurt to lose either Saying or Keinholz, because one injury away from being the starter at Ohio State. Do you pass that up, or do you pull a Kyle McCord and be like, hey, man, I can go get drafted if I go somewhere else and ball out?
See, I think part of what's going on, Dominic
in the house.
Part of what I think is going to play into that is if it's Keinholz who is the starter, I don't necessarily see Saying leaving. Yeah, this is his second season, but he knows he's close. If it's Keinholz who's not going to be the starter, that's 3 years in a row, he's going to probably leave so he can go find somewhere that he knows he can start. Because, again, somebody's going to enter the transfer portal. Somebody's going to get hurt. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And he'll jump somewhere where he knows he has a legitimate shot to play.
Yeah, and if that's the unfortunate thing, too, because you never know. I mean, they're starting off with Texas.
Yep. So they may want to go with somebody who's been in the system for 3 years and not necessarily.
And you could even do the bowl, the what was his name? Bo
Perbula.
Yeah. Perbula. Yeah. Bo Perbula. You could go that route, and Keinholz could have some running plays. I mean, and have a package that he could go in for, because he's definitely an athlete.
Yeah.
Three-sport athlete in high school.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Maybe that he might jump back. What's he, South Dakota? Is that where he was from? South or North?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
South Dakota, I do believe. And
they have two pretty good FCS programs over there in South Dakota.
St. Pierre,
South Dakota.
No, not St. Pierre. Pierre, South Dakota. Yeah.
Pierre, South Dakota. They got two good FCS programs there, South Dakota State. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility of him jumping to one of them.
Yeah, or even North Dakota.
Yeah.
Go the Bison route. All right. Well, I don't think that there's anything else we need to get to. The locker room is dried up because everyone's watching March Madness right now. This might have been a bad day to bring it back, but you know what? Buckeye Backers are here. Catch it tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you all. TJ, thanks for joining the show. Seattle Matt will be back after March, so he'll be back in with us. Everyone have a wonderful day. Keep tuned in for Buckeye Backers for more coverage from the Woody.
Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for having me, man.
Have a good rest of your day, evening.